Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Scenic Root Astrology. My name is Makayla, and today we're talking about the new moon in Leo. That's on August 4th, 2024. I'm going to pull up the chart for East Coast time, so just make sure that you calculate the chart for where you are in the world. And at East Coast time, it's going to be a 7:11 a.m. That's Sunday, August 4th, on the Sun's day, in the sign of Leo. This is a good sign. So I'm going to obviously pull up the chart so we can look at the transits and see what's going on here. And I pulled up a bunch of asteroids too, because I wanted to get a little bit deeper into this new moon. We're like halfway through 2024. So this is a good check-in time to see where you're at, where you're going, how you're evolving. We're almost done with the nodal cycle of the North Node in Aries. So, this has been a pretty intense eclipse season, especially for the cardinal people. So that would be Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. And we want to make sure that we're just checking in with ourselves, and we're utilizing the new moons to best manifest for us, right? To best help us in alignment with where we want to go. Okay. So when we have a new moon, this is the dark side of the moon. You're not going to see it, right? Because it's with the sun. And I'm actually going to recommend that, you set intentions under this new moon, but you don't actually start to manifest anything or try to manifest anything until we get to that first quarter cycle. And that's going to be, about a week later when the moon goes into Scorpio, okay, which will be a much different energy. But because the moon is dark and because Mercury is stationing retrograde a few hours after this new moon, I expect that things that we want to start in our life right now, they're going to be magnified, because when Mercury is stationing to go direct or retrograde, the intensity of Mercury is quite strong. But it's also about to go retrograde, right? So we're entering a period, the next couple of weeks until the beginning of September, where I'm encouraging people to finish things up, right? Finish old projects up, tie up your loose ends, go back to relationship dynamics that maybe need to be, closed, karmically closed, solved, figured out. Revisit paperwork, take care of things around your house, take care of things around your car, set yourself up by going back, revising, revisiting some things that you have not finished before. Okay. And I think this is really important because this has to do with your cognitive overload. Okay. So the new moon in Leo is super juicy. Leo is the divine child. I'm going to encourage everybody to think about, the divine child within you and what it truly wants, what's truly going to set your heart on fire for you to just have in your life going forward. Is it love? Is that big relationship? Is that connection that you're feeling? Is it children that you're wanting? Is it a career path that you can just play and float through the universe and just have fun all the time? Think about what's going to make your inner child feel really, really happy. But before you're able to do that, Mercury is going retrograde, and it's time for us to tie up loose ends or to finish up projects or situations or things that we haven't closed out yet. Okay. And that's because when you don't finish things, you actually train yourself to have a mental overload, okay? Because your brain is constantly thinking about the things that need to still be done, and it can't focus on the things that you're trying to manifest going forward. Now, that being said, not everything you begin needs to be finished, okay? And of course, I'm going to say that this is always different for everybody, considering your natal chart and also your human design profile. However, if there's something that that you need to finish, or there is something that you need to wrap up and you can't let it go, right? Then that's what you spend your time on doing. Okay. Not every single thing has to be finished. Not every little thing has to be wrapped up, but just prioritize what you should be focusing on for the next 3 weeks and get it done, so that, when we come into this full moon at the end of the month, you're going to have a really clear picture of where you're at. You're going to have basically a confrontation of, what does and does not make your inner divine child allow yourself to to grow and to go. And then, you're going to be able to move forward knowing that you cleared some space up, and now whatever's left as a blockage, you can now integrate everything you've learned and go forward to move ahead. Okay. So I've got a bunch of stuff to point out with this new moon. So I'm just going to pull up the astrology chart for us now. Okay. I don't know if I'm sharing this. That might have just messed this up. Mercury retrograde, What is going on, people? So sorry. Okay. I think we're good. Think we are good. Let me get my little pointer out here. So as you can see, there we go. The new moon is at 12 degrees Leo. So if you have anything plus or minus like 10 degrees, all right, so 2 degrees Leo, right, to 22 of any of the fixed signs, okay, 2 to 22 of Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. If we have any planets or angles, this is obviously going to be a little bit more juicy, a little bit more potent for you, but it's also applicable to everybody, okay? So everybody's Leo house, the place that Leo, if you're using a different system, if you're not using whole sign, right? I usually use porphyry. So whatever the house is ruled by Leo in your chart, where this new moon is actually falling in, okay? So like if this is a specific person, it would be falling in their 12th house, but also ruling their first house. And then you also really want to integrate your 5th house, okay? You want to think about, what does your 5th house want to do in your natal chart? What is the sign on the cusp, and what's that ruler doing, and so forth, and kind of get your brain thinking, okay, how can I best utilize this moon to encourage like my 5th house placement, my sun placement in my chart, and really amplify that and magnetize that. Okay. And this new moon is so nice because it is forming a nice trine to the North Node in Aries, okay? So we're not going to get this again, right? Because the North Node is about to move into Pisces. So, the trine is really an aspect that gives a boost of energy to the North Node. And wherever that North Node is transiting right now, it's new energy for us. It's kind of hard for us to navigate because it's something we haven't done before. It's just new. It's just something we haven't explored before. So we can be a little confused. Like, am I doing this right? Do I take this action? Do I go in this direction? And the answer is, if it's getting you amped up and if it's supporting where you want to move in your life genuinely from a heart-centered place, the answer is yes. And the North Node is in Aries is going to feel a little scary. Okay. It's going to ask us to have a little bit of courage. Okay. And be a little bit brave. Those are airy qualities, instinctually. Okay. Instinctual responses to get the thing going, to do the thing, right? To get the change going, to get your evolution moving in the right direction. And because this is a trine, it can give you that boost of energy. It can magnify it. It can give you really like a growth and support, right? It like basically a fusion of that energy just directing into that North Node. But the other dynamic with the trine is sometimes we can get complacent and we can get a little bit too comfortable because the trine is an easy energy, okay? It does not apply a pressure that we'll normally feel. So you want to be, looking at, okay, am I being complacent right now? Like, I know I want to plant the seed and I know it can boost my, my North Node journey, like that new direction I'm going in, that sense of self-exploration, that newness, that freshness that I'm trying to cultivate in my life, whatever that is for you as an individual. But, it's a time to check in, like, am I really giving this my full power? Like, am I really giving like an infusion of this into my North Node journey right here, wherever that Aries North Node is transiting, okay? And at the same time, it's forming a sextile to the South Node in Libra. And so the sextile in the South Node is going to be a little bit of a trigger, okay? It's going to feel like a constant poke with this new energy. And so under this new moon, I really encourage people to take an hour or two, if you can, the whole day, to just be alone, get in your own thoughts, okay? Be in your own quiet space and really think and contemplate, really tune in to like what it is that's going on within you, okay? And that sextile to that south node is going to give you an awareness of a conscious choice, okay? That you can't you have to balance out what is and what is not working, okay? And that south node in Libra is gonna, allow us to bring up things of our life, so where it's our values versus other people's values, and where do we find that balance, right? Where do we find the equilibrium? Because this whole last year and a half has very much been about relationships and partnerships. Who are we taking in with us into the next 20-year cycle of Pluto and Aquarius? Very important to be making conscious choices about your tribe, your friends, your communities, the groups of people that you hang out with, your intimate relationships, your partner. Okay, your partner is going to be directly related to the future that you're making. So we want to make really wise choices right now of who we're carrying forward into that future, okay? Who is going to help us co-create that next 20-year cycle? It's a very, very, very big deal. And that south node is heading for that trine to Pluto, okay? So again, when after the energy, unfolds itself, after we do all of our mending and our reevaluating, so forth, with that Mercury retrograde cycle ending, that south node is coming towards that Pluto, and it's going to trine, and it's going to be like, okay, remember we talked about the trine, it's a fusion of energy. It's like, okay, these are the powerful people, because we want powerful people, right? Powerful groups, powerful communities with Pluto and Aquarius. These are the powerful people that I'm bringing into my future, right? And these are not. Okay, you really want to think about that sense of empowerment that's going on here, and what type of sense of empowerment are you bringing in? And again, that Pluto is also going to start to form that sextile to that north node, and it's going to be a trigger. It's going to be that poking, okay, that conscious intention, that conscious choice, right? Are these the people that are brave? Are these the people that have a sense of self-esteem, that support my self-esteem? Are these people, courageous enough to, be their independent selves and reflect back to me the type of independent person that I want to be? That south node in Libra is really making us reflect on, who and what information, like what YouTuber do I choose to listen to, essentially, right? And let them feed my energy and so forth, right? It's a time to be super hyper aware of what's going on and where that energy is showing up for you, especially when you're manifesting, okay? Especially when you're planting seeds for your future. We want to be, the universe listens. The universe is listening, right? So sometimes things aren't always going to look the way that we thought they were going to look, but as long as we have our intentions clear and we're clear about where we stand and who we are, our divine self, our higher self, is going to do all the rest of the work and do the unfolding for us, okay? But this is also about stopping negative patterns that have been preventing us from having that joy, okay? From having that Leo joy, from getting into our sun, right? From living from our creative space, from living a more colorful life, having more play in our life. The energy is shifting, we're changing. The universe wants us to do that. We're elevating as a human species itself. We're actually physically changing. On an energetic level, an alchemical level, right? And many of us who are using these tools, we understand, right? When we feel that alchemical change within us, even our actual physical appearance begins to change, and we look different, right? Because of this, because of what happens. The other thing I want to point out is that, well, there's a bunch, but now that we're on the topic of, connection and people and things and situations that, we're reviewing right now while we're setting these intentions, is that Mercury is going to go retrograde a few hours after this new moon. Okay. And it's crossing over Nemesis, the asteroid Nemesis. You see there at 2 degrees of Virgo. This is where you want to watch out for your enemies. Okay. This is where you want to watch out for people who are narcissistic in your life, who maybe have been backstabbers in the past, who maybe haven't had your best, um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's Mercury retrograde. They haven't wanted the best for you, right? They haven't had their best interests for you. Maybe these people have been jealous. Maybe these people have been trying to ruin your name. Maybe these people have been trying to take your partner. Nemesis and Virgo here in that Mercury retrograde in Virgo is about editing out, right? Editing out those people. Okay, so we want to be careful. We also want to be careful about our words and our choices. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's definitely a time for acceleration, but it's inward acceleration. Okay, I have 2 videos out right now on this Mercury retrograde cycle. I did one by myself solo that you can see on my channel, and I also did one with Matt from Uranian Astrology, and it was a super awesome video. And we also went through all of your 12 zodiac signs. Okay, so your rising signs. So if you want like a general horoscope of like how that's going to show up for you, you can watch this, you can watch that. Plenty of information out there. Okay, but I did want to point out that Mercury is going to be going over that nemesis 3 times. Okay, 3 times. So you want to watch out for that, who's coming in, and do the necessary editing. Okay, Virgo is here to, help us become more coherent around, certain areas of our life. Okay, so wherever that's showing up for you, that could be showing up in your workplace, that could be showing up in your dating life right now, that could be showing up in your 4th house, in your home, that could be showing up in your 8th house, where maybe it's triggering people that, you're in business with, and so forth, right? Different, it could be going through your 12th house, right? So you could be finding out who those hidden enemies are now, right? Finally, yay, they're exposed. So that's just what's going on in the backdrop. We also have a ear forming in the sky. Okay, an ear is 2 sextiles, semi-sextiles, and a sextile. So we've got Uranus at 26 of Taurus. We've got Neptune at that final degrees of the zodiac, 29 Pisces, and it's retrograde. And we also have Chiron and Eris right in the middle, okay, of this, both retrograde. So this is forming an ear in the sky, and this is giving you messages. The ear is when you're going to hear something. It literally sounds like it, right? It forms like the shape of like a little ear. That's like my little drawing that looks awful. But you're going to hear things, okay? And you might not necessarily, a couple things might happen under this, okay? I'm not going to say this is going to happen for everybody. You might be watching this happen to other people, but a few things can happen where Chiron and Eris is like somebody's triggering you, something that you hear ends up triggering you, and it's unexpected, okay? However, it removes a veil, right? It removes like some lifelong thing, maybe for perhaps like that you just didn't see clearly before, and all of a sudden you see it clearly, okay? Because the Neptune and the Uranus are here and involved. Uranus in Taurus is really giving it, and it's in the sign of Venus, right? It's in a sign that it has to do with not only our personal values in Taurus, right? And our personal resources and our personal sense of security, which is most important, right? That Uranus is wanting to accelerate that for people to gain that sense of inner sense of security. Okay. It's also in a relationship to the Libra archetype. Okay. And Libra has to do with our personal relationships, our one-to-one relationships. So, we want to be mindful of the messages that we're hearing around this time, and it can be triggering. Okay, I just want you to know, like, it can be, but it's helpful, right? The universe isn't triggering you for no reason. It's just helpful information for you to hear that. Okay, and because it's with Chiron and Aries, it's really giving you an opportunity, okay, to heal your sense of independence or your sense of self-worth. Okay, that Chiron and Aries really wants us to focus on that, our self-worth, right? Our self-esteem, taking initiative in our life, right? Taking up space in our life, like being able to stand up for yourself, basically be a warrior for yourself, right? For your health, for your love, for your wellness, for your mental health, for your emotional state of security, right? And it's healing that, right? It's bringing that opportunity to grow and to evolve and to step into your own independent power, because we all have it. We all have it. Even if you feel like you're not that powerful of a human, you have it within you. We all have that natural instinct of empowerment within us. Sometimes it just needs to be unlocked in a different level, in a different degree. Okay. And that Eris here could be a trigger. It could be coming from somebody else to you, or you could be doing that for somebody else, where essentially it, the fog clears up, the fog lifts, right? We get a sense of clarity. And now we're like, wow, I can make way more conscious decisions now because of that clarity, right? Because of that knowledge. And again, that middle of the ear, that Chiron and Eris, wherever those triggers are going to come from, it is going to affect that Venus and that Vesta in Leo, okay, which also that moon is going to get infused by the sun, and then it's going to go and meet up with that Vesta, all right, and carry those messages over to Vesta and be like, what are you dedicating yourself to, right? Because Vesta represents what we are so diehardly dedicating ourselves to, right? Protecting that home and hearth energy. We are dedicated to this thing. That moon's going to carry that message to Vesta and Leo, and it's going to be with a passion, right? With that Leo passion, that Leo fire. And then it's going to meet that Venus in Leo, and it's going to be like, how are you going to create with it? How are you going to partner with that, right? What type of relationships with yourself, with others, right? What kind of art, what kind of music, what kind of joy, what kind of play, what kind of fun, what are your needs? What can I do about your needs, right? It's all going to infuse those planets, and it's going to be carrying that message back to that ear as well. Okay. And so there's a lot of communication going on in the sky, but a lot of it is going on internally. And then like when that Mercury goes direct, I imagine there'll be a lot of conversations probably rehab, because people are changing their strategy and they're feeling differently on an inward level. And they're like, well, I used to be this way, but I'm not anymore. So you've got to meet me where I'm at, because this is what's going to make me happy. And if I'm not making myself happy, then I'm not living a joyous, colorful, playful, fun life, and are you with me or are you gone? That kind of thing. I imagine it's going to be happening for a lot of people. And again, it is out of sign. Okay. But it is forming that Chiron, that middle of the ear is connected in a square out of sign to that Pluto. Okay. So this is about power dynamics. This is about self-esteem issues, and this is about needing to step into your energy and step into your power from a deep sense of inward empowerment. Okay. And some of these things might seem disempowering at first, and that's totally okay. It's going to make you step into a space even more deeper to untangle anything that becomes a block, anything that doesn't allow you to open up that heart and feel free to open up and crack open that chest and that heart and just pour it out. Okay. That's what this kind of new moon and going into the full moon at the end of the month, that's what this is kind of going to trigger for a lot of people. Okay. So all while this is happening at the same time, we've got, which I kind of wanted to leave to last, is Venus square this Uranus, okay? And for many people, and this is past the square, right? But it's still under the new moon, so it's still infusing this new moon with that Venus square Uranus energy. So, there is that pressure for people to get really clear on their values, okay, and get really clear on the relationships that we're bringing in and we're trying to go forward with. And there can be that friction, okay. So if you're changing, if you're somebody that's not doing the same patterns that you used to do anymore, and you're really feeling the energy this year and you're really doing a lot of work, just understand that a bunch of this stuff happening is about triggering other people. Okay. There's a reason why we have the South Node in Libra. There's a reason why we have had Uranus in Taurus. Okay. There's a reason why we have Eris for so long, Chiron in Aries. Okay. All of these things are about relationships changing, the dynamics changing. All right. And that's because Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a completely different era, and we're going to feel it accelerate more and more, especially when it goes into Aquarius next year, finally, right? Because remember, we still have Pluto in Capricorn for a few months left. It has not finished that. But once we finish that whole cycle, life is going to look a lot different, and it's going to accelerate a lot faster than you can imagine because that Pluto is Aquarius. Okay. So, like, honestly, under this new moon and under the next couple of weeks, use that time to reflect, use that time to go within, right? You don't have to exert yourself so much. You don't have to be like, because you can feel the infusion, right, of the excitement with Leo energy. Like, we love the Leo time, right? It's a playful time. When the sun is in Leo, everybody gets a little bit more vibrant. Okay. But and you can feel that excitement. Okay. But let that build up within you, and let yourself kind of really deeply go in and reflect. And the biggest question you can ask yourself is like, why? Okay. Why do I want to create this? Why do I want that partnership? Why do I want my life to look like this? And start to get super duper clear, because when all these planets that are retrograde begin to move direct, that's going to be that time to go forward again. Okay. And remember, under this new moon too, that Mercury carrying that energy is so very slow, right? So very slow. On the backdrop, we have so much going on. We've got Lucifer here at 26 in Gemini. That's basically a shining a light on the dark side of the truth and the stories that we're either receiving or not receiving in our life. Okay. Lucifer is shining that light in the dark spaces. Okay. And because we have all this Gemini energy going on right now, there are two sides, right? There are going to be two sides to stories. There is going to be duplicity. And it's quite often that you'll probably have to do things twice, three times, four times with Mercury retrograde, Mars in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini. Okay. And then we also have Pallas Athene right over here in Scorpio at 21 degrees. So, Pallas is coming up with her strategy, right? And deeply reflecting. It's in Scorpio. It's going to the deep psychological core of the strategy, of the plan that you're working on. Okay. Because remember, everything manifests from an emotion. Okay. It's a want, right? It's an emotion, it's a desire. It's a drive to go somewhere, right? And then we go out and we manifest, then we go out and create it, right? So you want to be thinking clearly and deeply under this new moon about these reflections. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and let everybody know how they can find me. So again, my website is back up. I am again available for new astrology clients. My offerings are at scenicrouteastrology.com. I will definitely link those videos down below of all the information on the Mercury retrograde. So my collaboration with Urania and Matt. You can also find us both on Instagram. I'm at Scenic Route Astrology. Again, I'll just link that below. And please let me know how this energy is showing up for you. Drop in any questions, maybe drop in, where that new moon is showing up in your chart, or how you've been feeling, how the energy is interacting with you. I really like the feedback from all my subscribers. And do not forget to hit like and subscribe if you have not already. It helps my channel grow and keeps me wanting to make content and videos for you guys. Okay. So everybody have a fantastic new moon in Leo tomorrow. I wish you very well, and I will be back soon.